Welcome into the CHGO Blackhawks podcast. It's Wednesday. I hope it's going well for you and yours. I don't know. I'm Jay Zawoski with Greg Boyson and Mario Tirabassi. Thanks for joining us. A lot to get to today. We just got back from practice. We heard from Connor Bedard. We heard from Luke Richardson, so we're going to bring you some of that. Before we do, make sure you smash that like button for us. Make sure you are subscribed to our YouTube page, and podcast listeners, as always, make sure you follow, subscribe, whatever your favorite app calls for. And if you got 15 seconds, a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify would go a really, really long way. When last we left you, late last night, coming off a Blackhawks win and Connor Bedard scoring a shorthanded goal. And I think a lot of people kind of chuckled at the fact that he didn't seem too pleased with the fact that his first goal as a Blackhawk, even though it doesn't count, came on the empty net. And Luke Richardson made a good point today. It's not in the part you're going to hear, so I'll share it right now, where he said, you don't have to worry about like padding stats. Goals are goals. And just if the advantage is there to end the game, just end the game. Mm-hmm. I really like that. I think Connor Bedard is really, really wanting to be all things to all people right away. And I think he's got a really good coach and support staff in his ear saying, dude, it's okay. Yeah. Empty netters are fun. Wins are fun. You got 3 points. Let's be happy about it.
Yeah, I liked what you said last night, Greg, from Richardson's post-game presser about there's no pictures or videos of the goals in the stat sheet. It's just the number. And
no pictures in the goal column, just numbers.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, I mean, you chuckle a little bit at seeing his response to that? Yeah, but as we said last night, like the kid is the ultimate competitor. And I liked what Richardson said after the game about, trying to keep things a little bit light with him, being able to make sure that Bedard's not just so hard on himself all the time to where, it's, yes, you want to make sure that you're focused and you're locked in when you need to be, but you can also, loosen up the tie a little bit, even though most guys don't wear ties anymore with their pregame suits. But
unzip the 3/4 zip a little bit.
Yeah, unzip it a little bit, and just have some fun, relax. Hockey's a game. Yeah. As much as money you're going to make from it, it's still a game. Have some fun, and I think Bedard, as the season progresses, as his career progresses, I think we'll start to see a little bit of that show. We've seen a little bit of him.
Yeah,
a little bit loose. More loose as camp has gone on. But, I mean, I think there's just a lot of expectation and a lot of tension build up as the season gets closer and closer.
Well, you'll hear from Connor Bedard in his own words in a minute. And I think it's something to keep in mind, too, because, look, when he was drafted and people talked about the spotlight on him, what we're talking about is not just highlights on NHL.com's Twitter account. We're talking about, look at that face he made after a goal. Is he unhappy? What did that mean? Every little move he makes is going to be scrutinized. And are we a little guilty of it after last night? Yes, probably a little bit. But I think what we need to remember is in the context of Connor Bedard, remember the first things we heard from him are, I'm just one of the guys. I just want to blend in. He goes out of his way to not make it about him, so much so that I think it draws attention sometimes.
Yeah.
Well, case in point, he's the last guy on the ice today, and the entire media corps was waiting for him in an empty locker room because, we didn't get to talk to him last night, so they let us wait.
Right.
So he comes walking in by himself, and there's 12 people and cameras waiting, and he just kind of laughs like, oh, okay, you're still here, huh?
You're still here? It's over.
I think he's trying to wait us out, I think. He's like, man, if I shoot enough pucks, maybe they'll go away. Like maybe Luke will go upstairs. I don't have to talk to him, but he's loosening up a little bit, I think. And as there's more, as there's things to talk about that actually matter here in a few days, we'll get more and more of that personality out of them, and more of that brain, the hockey brain come out.
Yeah. Well, why don't we hear from him right now? This is him at his stall right after he got off the ice. Literally, I was probably 15 minutes of us standing around waiting. That sounded like we were annoyed. We weren't annoyed. There were other guys in there. We were talking to other players, but it was clearly everybody was waiting to talk to
Usually,
Bedard.
they shuffle us out of there, but they knew that we were waiting for him.
Right.
So, he had big crowd waiting.
Yeah, so here's Connor Bedard after practice today.
How would you assess, I guess, how you felt last night?
Yeah, I felt pretty good, but a lot of kind of plays I shouldn't have made, but still learning and kind of getting used to everything. But I thought our team played pretty well. In spurts we were really, really good, and it's good to get another win.
How ready do you feel for the NHL for the regular season?
Sorry?
How ready do you feel for the regular season?
I don't know. I mean, just kind of taking it day by day. I mean, I'm always confident in myself, and I think that's big. But there's definitely areas I can get better in, and just kind of obviously every day you gotta really go into it well, because you know that there's not much time now till obviously the real games start.
Luke said that he had been kind of talking with you about not trying to do too much, that doesn't always have to be a highlight every shift. And was that something that was on your mind as the game went on? It seemed like maybe in the first period you were maybe doing a little bit and then kind of eased off and it worked better and as the game went on.
I don't know. I mean, just being smart, I guess. I think if the play's there, I'm always going to try to make it, and sometimes it'll work, sometimes it won't. But I think when there's not really a play to be made, then just kind of being smart. So something you learn. Obviously, players are better, and they're going to be smarter and everything, and just kind of figuring out when and when not to maybe try stuff.
That third power play, is that what you guys are trying to accomplish with the puck movement and everyone getting touches?
For sure. I mean, that first game we didn't really have. We had the one power play, and then in Detroit wasn't great. So, just kind of getting used to each other, and I think that was big for us to have a power play like that, moving the puck well and quick, and obviously ending with a big goal there. So I think that's the best power plays are the ones that score when it's needed, and I think that's kind of big for us to get one like that.
Did you feel like they were shading your way on the first two power plays last night?
I don't know. I mean, I think they were just kind of hard on the flanks, whether it was me or ALLCITY. I think that's kind of just how their system was for that. And I think for me, you just gotta make a quick play, and if they're coming up on me, someone's gonna be open, obviously. So just kind of knowing where to move the puck and getting used to that a bit.
There's always a lot of talk about your shot, but your teammates keep raving about your setup ability. This might be a dumb question. Do you think of yourself as a goal scorer or a playmaker first?
Yeah, I feel like people will talk about my shot more, and I've never really seen myself as a shooter. I don't want to kind of be a guy that's. I don't think not that I don't want to be, but my game isn't really kind of get the puck and shoot. I think for me it's whatever the right play is. I don't know if I see myself as a goal scorer or a passer or just one. I think whatever the right play is, I'm going to try to make that. But I definitely don't just see myself as a guy that always wants to shoot the puck.
Do you get any extra satisfaction from making the play, setting somebody else up versus you scoring the goal or vice versa?
They're both good. I mean, scoring a goal feels pretty good, obviously. But either way, I think just want to feel good about the plays you're making, and obviously whatever's resulting in the goal is the biggest thing. And but for me, it's just kind of feeling like I made the right decision with the puck.
How much are you enjoying just the challenge of the learning curve that is the NHL? I mean, this is probably the newest and most difficult challenge for you in your career so far. Are you embracing that at all? Are you
Yeah, it's been good. I feel like it's pretty funny. It's still preseason with kind of all the stuff around it, but it's just a lot of learning, and for me, it's good to have these games. And I think there's been good things. There's been obviously things you need to clean up, but that's with anything. So just kind of try to get better every day, and each game feel more and more comfortable.
Are you ready for when you do make your season debut? Probably people nationally, internationally are going to be parsing through every one of your movements on the ice. Are you ready for that?
Doesn't really bother me at all. I'm focused on what's in this room, and obviously myself giving my best effort on the ice, and I'm not too worried what someone I've never met kind of comments on my game or whatever. I think for me it's just trying to help the team win, and obviously try to be the best version of myself.
That was Connor Bedard after practice today. I like where he was asked, do you even envision yourself as a shooter or a passer? And his answer is, I'm going to take the best play available.
Yeah.
I don't really think of myself as either way. And I think a lot of times you'll have guys say, oh, it's really great to set people up. And that's the right mindset to have, is what is the right play to make right now and make that play. And again, he's got so much media savvy for an 18-year-old that's been in the NHL officially for 2 weeks, 3 weeks.
Right.
You could tell he loves talking about the game. When you start talking about the sport itself, he opens up more. That's his life. It's his whole life is hockey. Not interested in music, movies, hanging out. No, I want to be at the rink. I want to shoot pucks. That's what I want to do. So let's talk about that. When you do, he really kind of blossoms and shows you that personality a little bit.
Yeah, and I think we saw that mindset of I'm just going to make the play that's available to me on that power play where they scored the game-winning goal. At first, he was setting up in the left circle. He took 2 different one-timers. Those didn't work. So then the third time the puck comes to him, he sees the defense is now coming to prevent that shot, and he gets the puck to Taylor Hall, who quickly gets it to Corey Perry, game-winning goal. So you saw both of those mindsets in the same play, in the same sequence, where it's okay, the shot's my best option. I'm going to just slam home a one-timer. Okay, now they're trying to take that away. Boom, I killed you with a pass.
Well, I think this sets up nicely into the question you asked Luke Richardson. So you want to set that up? But
Yeah.
I think you were talking more in the context of the Murphy goal.
Of the
too,
Murphy
right?
goal, yeah, because, Connor Murphy scored that goal last night, and that's not something we're used to seeing from Connor Murphy. And he joked that, I used my Bedard release on that. But I asked Luke Richardson because I knew he was going to want to get all X's and O's on it, which I love hearing him.
Yes, he did.
And I basically said, hey, that Connor, I didn't want to say Connor's goal and Connor, too many Connors on that play. So the Murphy goal, you saw, and Connor Murphy even said so after the game. He's like, everybody went to Bedard. I was wide open, so I took the shot. And I just kind of asked Luke, is that something that he's preaching to his defensemen, and is it something that the defensemen are kind of salivating over, saying, hey, I'm going to get more space out there. It's time for me to get aggressive with the puck. It's on Murphy's goal that, Bedard's presence on the ice alone is going to cause a lot more space on the back end. Are you preaching to those guys to be ready and be aggressive and take those shots? And are they excited for the possibility of more of those opportunities like we saw?
Yeah, that's one area we added in training camp this year was offensive zone faceoffs. I think we drew up 4 just as a start, because you don't want to have 10 and it's too overwhelming for a lot of young guys out there and even the older guys. It's something simple, it's laminated, it's on the wall before the games, and same thing we do on defensive zone wins to exit the zone clearly. Everybody has a plan and you have to follow that plan. So that one's perfect. He's a shooter off the wall. He's right-handed. It's very hard for someone to check that stick. Teams that play man-to-man, the D will never get to his stick if it's a clean draw. And we have our D coming down the backside. And maybe not too quick, just slowly. So if the weak side forward comes to him, which what happens, it takes a little while for that other forward to get out to the D, to Murphy, and he has a little more time to load up and shoot that puck. So there's more than one option there. And if he kept skating, sometimes he can make a back pass to the strong side D on the wall as well. And, there's just different options. So that works out well. But you're right, he's a dangerous threat. If you see him on the wall, it'd be like Ovechkin coming off the wall. Everybody's talking, who's getting to him? And you kind of forget about everybody else for a second, so they're open.
Luke Richardson, it's funny, you have seen it from day one of training camp. We noticed during a drill that Bedard gave a pass to Tyler Johnson and he wasn't ready for it. And Johnson almost laughed oh yeah, I probably got to start being ready for these. Now, as there's been games played and practices together, you're starting to see Taylor Hall and Connor Murphy and those guys ready at all times for a pass coming their way. And conversely now, as teams scout Connor Bedard, and say he's looking to let go of that shot from that spot, that Ovechkin spot, maybe a little closer to the blue line than Ovechkin usually is, a little further back, kind of more towards the point. But regardless, same idea, they are going at him, and he's going to make them pay. That's the thing when we talk about getting a talent like this. It's not just about him and his stats, it's about what he creates for the other members of the team.
Yeah, he's going to be able to create space and elevate people around him just from the respect he's going to get from other teams and the way they scout him. So, I mean, when we talk about, looking for maybe some, fantasy hockey sleeper picks, Taylor Hall might not be a bad one. Lucas Reichel might not be a bad one. Seth Jones might not be a bad one. They're all going to, up and down the lineup, they're going to benefit from when Bedard is on the ice, because he's going to change how teams play defense, just like Ovechkin on the power play. I mean, you leave him open, and he's going to make you pay for it. If you commit too much to him, you got all the other guys on that power play over the years that have benefited from it. The Blackhawks could be in a similar situation with Bedard, and I think, it's great that he has that, going back to what he said about being a shooter, being a passer. It must be nice to have so much skill that you can just decide how you want to kill a team, right? Like, I'll just score 3 goals on you tonight, or I'll set up 3 goals. Like, it's when you have a guy that has that kind of talent, not only can he take advantage of, being a shooter, being a pass, being able to set up teammates and stuff, but to be able to pick and choose how he wants to do it based on how the game is going to flow. I mean, that's just such a special talent that, on nights that he has space, let your shot rip. On nights where you're getting 2 and 3 guys converging on you every time you have the puck, I mean, yeah, you might have a couple pucks get knocked out of the air or get intercepted, but a couple of pucks are going to get through because he has that skill, and they're going to land on the tape of a teammate who's wide open. And like Connor Murphy did last night, is going to be able to bury it.
Yeah, it's basically a talent like him, and as more of these young players, dynamic players, join the NHL roster over the next 2, 3, 4 seasons, it's really going to be up to the other team to pick which way they want to die that night. Like, which way do you want? Do you want Connor Bedard to just shoot you to death, or do you want the other guys to do it? And most teams would probably say, let Taylor Hall beat us tonight. Let Ryan Donato score that big goal, but they're going to. They're gonna have the space, and they're good enough to get the job done more times than not. So, the last couple seasons, it was just take Patrick Kane out of the game, and we're going to beat this team, because there was nobody there. And now, the addition of a Taylor Hall, I know he's on the back half of his career, but I really think his numbers are going to jump this year, considering he's going from playing third-line minutes in Boston to now, going to be on the top line, the top power play.
Yeah.
And then, it's going to trickle down through the rest of the lineup, because now guys who in past seasons would have played against other teams' best defensive pairings and best defensive lines won't have to draw those tough matches. Lucas Reichel is not going to be facing the shutdown line at all this year. He's going to be facing second and third defensive pairings for most of the season. Yeah. That Corey Perry, Foligno Dickinson line, they're going to be facing third pairing bottom 6 guys. They'll take advantage of that. Mm-hmm. So it's going to trickle down throughout the entire lineup. And as your Nazars and your Oliver Moores hopefully hit their potential and get here, good luck.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of options for the Hawks. There's one more piece from Luke Richardson. This is actually the first thing he started with today, was him talking about how Bedard did not necessarily celebrate that empty net goal.
It was funny. I saw him last night after the game, and you didn't want to congratulate or celebrate your empty net goal, and he kind of sheepishly looked at me like in disgust. That's not the type of goals he likes to score. But in this league, getting a goal and 2 assists, even if it wasn't your best night, he's hard on himself. So, hey, it's a big win for the team, and it's getting close to the real thing. So be happy with that. There'll be a lot of games. He has unbelievable games. and probably doesn't have any points. That's the way the league goes.
How ready is he for the real thing?
Oh, he's ready. I'm sure he's been ready, but again, like he's got to realize in this league in 82 games that every night's not going to be smooth sailing and perfect. So he's got to be ready for it's a long grind. And I know he's used to long seasons, but he's very mature. I think what he does is he's hard on himself, but then he loves the game so much, as everybody knows, that he wants to get back on that ice and work the next day. And he's always got that upbeat attitude when he's out on the ice, and that's where he feels probably most comfortable.
All of this perspective will sink in when these games matter, and I forget who it was last night. Maybe Lebowski said, does anyone remember Jonathan Taves or Patrick Kane's rookie preseason?
No, I don't.
We just have the microscope on right now.
I don't
and
remember any of their preseasons.
No. And just remember.
I was a 17-year-old snot nose starting my junior year of high school.
Snot in your nose when you're 17?
Yeah, I had
Grow
a
up,
problem.
man. Jesus.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Ragweed season.
And No Roids just kind of teases something we're going to talk about in a little bit. It says, I love all these stupid clickbait boasts about Bedard's attitude and all that BS. We do have a bitching session coming. The last segment of the show, because there has been a lot of preseason nonsense about
airing
Bedard
grievances
and a lot of things that we're going to get to. But just know, however you're perceiving these faces, which we're zooming in on everything Connor Bedard right now, this is just a kid who wants to get better.
Speaking of Connor Bedard's faces.
Yeah, he just wants to be great. And there was a moment in practice today where the group shoots around. They do this like kind of King of the Mountain thing. And Bedard was working one-on-one with Derek King. And what Bedard wanted to work on was entering taking a pass to enter the zone. So Derek King is standing between the red line, center ice and the blue line. And Bedard is just skating from center ice into the offensive zone, circling over and over again. First he did about 15 where Derek King put the puck on his backhand. So he can receive it on the backhand, carry it into the zone, fine, turn around, do it again, do it again, do it again. Then Bedard said, okay, let's do the same thing, but I want you to float the pass to me so it's in the air, so I have to knock it down and then carry it into the zone. Did 15 of those. Then the last one was put it in the air, but put it behind me. So I have to receive it behind me in the air, advance it, and bring it in on side. And Derek King's doing it, and Bedard goes, do it harder. And Derek King just goes, harder? Okay. So he's just whipping saucer passes at him from about as far as I am to Mario. And Bedard is trying to corral these things to carry into the zone cleanly. He is just working his ass off to be great. And I'm seeing a lot of noise about this is a problem. He has an attitude. He's unhappy. He doesn't want to score empty netters. He just wants to be great. That is 100% good. There is nothing negative about him not being satisfied with his own performance, with him not being satisfied that he hasn't scored a non-empty net goal yet. You want a guy who is fiery and passionate about being the best.
You know who did that? Michael Jordan.
Yes.
And that worked out for him, having that kind of
yes.
grind and work ethic and attitude about the sport, about the art of his craft. And I'm not going to say Bedard is Jordan-esque yet, but to see that from an 18-year-old, to have that kind of work ethic and discipline for it, I'd rather that than he's the first off the ice and
I had 3 points
all
last
this,
night.
all
I don't
this
need to
other
work
stuff.
extra.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's probably easy for a lot of young kids. It could be in his position of, number one overall pick, had one of the greatest junior careers we've ever seen, and they could be satisfied and resting on those laurels, going, "I'm Connor Bedard. I'm not playing in a preseason game. I'm not doing this. I'm not going to the rookie camp game in Minnesota."
He has every right to be a douchebag 18-year-old kid, and he is not.
We've seen plenty of those come along that didn't have half the talent,
right,
or a quarter of the work ethic he has. So, the whole, oh my God, he made a face thing.
And if he's making a face, it's about himself.
Yeah,
it's his own performance.
It's exactly what No Roy said. It's clickbait. It's clickbait. So here's a good idea. Don't click on it.
Yeah,
I don't.
I mean, the first preseason game at home, the 2-assist night, he was just like, I could have been better. He had 3 points last night. I could have been better.
And He was the highest rated metrically player
Yeah.
for either team last night.
It's just
his highest rated game of the preseason.
The standard that he has for himself is at such a high level, and I think hopefully, and I believe that it will, that elevates the rest of the locker room to say, this kid has this standard. I'm a professional. I'm, Tyler Johnson. I'm Taylor Radish. Whoever. I need to also have this kind of, standard being set. And last year for the Blackhawks, the standard was low. The bar was low. The expectations were low. The expectations are still low for this season, but the bar and the standard are rising.
Well, and Luke Richardson said it today, talking about kind of the opposite thing, where if a kid shows up and sees somebody like Nick Foligno working his ass off, doing an extra 15 minutes on the bike after the game or working out or whatever, it sets an example, just like we always used to talk about with Jonathan Taves, is if the highest paid, highest profile guy on this team can work this hard, everybody can work this hard.
Yeah.
And Connor Bedard is that we've taken some criticism for crowning him this team's next captain before he's played a game. He is leading by example by working harder than everyone out there. Mm-hmm. And I know, like, the last thing off the ice thing can be a little bit performative sometimes. I always think of a guy, Mario, like J.J. Watt, who made sure that when he was the last guy off the ice or off the field or he was doing extra things, that there was always a camera crew nearby to make sure it was being captured, like on Hard Knocks. I'll never forget that. Like, practice is over and he goes outside at night and starts running these drills with a camera crew handy, right? That can be performative. But J.J. Watt is a Hall of Famer. J.J. Watt's one of the best defensive players of all time because of that work ethic. Yeah. And if Connor Bedard can put that on display for everyone on the team, I'm the best player on his team, hands down. Before he's played an NHL game, he is the best player on the Blackhawks. I don't think there's much question about it. If he is setting that standard of work, then everyone should follow behind. And if they're not, that's a really easy way for Kyle Davidson to root out who he wants and who he doesn't.
No, that's true.
And just to loop back on the whole, he's down on himself after a 3-point game. I got this sneaking suspicion that we're never going to talk to him after a game and him go, I played the perfect game. I'm completely satisfied. I didn't do anything wrong.
That was great.
He's going to have a 4-goal, 6-point game, and he's going to go and be like, yeah, but I didn't win that defensive zone faceoff at the end of the game.
Right.
Like, he's going to find something that he goes, yeah, all that was great, but I need to be better at doing this. It's who he is, and it's not a bad thing.
I could have had that 5th goal.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
If I hadn't hit the post, I would have had 7 points.
Michael wants to know why I apologize to you about J.J. Watt. You're a Badger. He's a Badger. That's why.
Yeah, we can't badmouth Badgers unless
we can. We just
unless
have to
you're Tony
apologize
Granado,
first.
apparently.
I'll get over it.
All right, you two need to have a face-to-face sit-down at practice one morning.
Yeah.
Like, Tony,
we'll have a cup of coffee.
Here?
We've got some more Luke Richardson on Wyatt Kaiser, but I think more interesting is our little bitch session we have lined up here. So why don't we do the bitch section next? We're going to give Mario the floor to complain. I think Greg and I have some preseason complaints as well about what's going on in the hockey world.
It's an early Festivus.
But if you've ever had complaints about finding concert tickets or game tickets and you're tired of paying the third-party markup and getting screwed price-wise by those big ticket conglomerations, you need to check out our friends at Game Time. It's an awesome place to be. You shouldn't have to worry when you're buying tickets to your next big event. Game Time is the fast and easy way to buy tickets for all the sports, music, comedy, and theater events near you with killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seat, and their best price guarantee. Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying tickets. So I think some people know the story of my daughter and her relationship with professional softball player Courtney Gano. We follow Courtney on Instagram, and she put in her little stories, I'm trying to find Coldplay tickets to the show tonight in Seattle, and I'm having no luck. I sent her the Game Time link. She used it, bought tickets, and was posting videos from the Coldplay concert.
How about that?
That night, she was super thrilled, got a great deal on a great seat, and you will too by using Game Time. So you got the Hawks home opener coming up, Bulls season right around the corner. If you want to go to a Bears game, okay.
You can do it.
What's cool is you can see the view from your seat before you even buy it, so you know exactly what you're going to get when you do it. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code CHGO for 20% off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CHGO for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last-minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed.
Hey, if you were looking for something to enjoy with all that money you save on those game tickets from Game Time, why not spend it at the arena bar on some Goose Island beer? Goose Island is the proud beer sponsor of us here at CHGO, and they have been Chicago's beer since 1988, and they have a terrific year-round roster of beers. You got the full pocket pills, the everyday beer. It's what the Goose Island beer brewers are drinking. You, of course, have the family of Beer Hug Imperial IPAs. You have the golden cans of 312, the wheat ale, the staple of their year-round roster. It is still Oktoberfest season because it is early in October. So get out and get yourself a Goose Island Oktoberfest to ring in the fall season. You can get all of these and more ultra-fresh brewery-exclusive beers at Goose Island's original brew house on Clybourne Avenue in Lincoln Park, or you can go to their tap room on Fulton Street in Westtown. Again, that is the Goose Island Beer Company, Chicago's beer.
All right.
Shall we bitch?
Let us bitch. You came in the bitchinest, so I will give you the floor, Mario. What's grinding your gears?
Look, I've said it before. It is open season to shit on the Blackhawks right now. I get it. Some of it's deserved. A lot of it is deserved. But get your yucks in now because it's not going to last long. And far be it from me or us or Blackhawks fans in general to not keep the receipts. We'll keep the receipts.
You've been known to keep a receipt.
I have kept a receipt, and I've cashed a receipt in my day. Look, last night there was a Detroit sucks chant
Finally.
at the end of the game when it was all in hand. And I will say that the broadcast team of Kaylee Chelios and Chris Foster maybe had a little fumble, but they recovered it. They recovered their own fumble. Specifically, Sportsnet and Bleacher Report put out the clip saying Blackhawks fans chanting, "We want the cup." You can imagine the replies and the quote tweets from Out of Town Stupid dunking on the Blackhawks.
Which would have been deserved if that's, in fact, what they were chanting.
Would have been deserved, 100%. That's a dumb thing to chant as a Blackhawks fan. Blackhawks fans are not, I'm looking at this camera now. Blackhawks fans, we're not stupid. We're not we're not stupid enough to chant, "We want the cup"
in a preseason
preseason game at this stage of the rebuild. We're not dumb. If you listen to the video, if you have any knowledge of Blackhawks and Detroit Red Wings hockey over
100 years,
5 years old, you would know the cadence of a Detroit sucks chant. And for Sportsnet and Bleacher Report to go with the "We want the cup" tomfoolery, they were appropriately ratioed by Blackhawks fans and hockey fans who are just smart.
Yeah.
Look, I'll keep the receipts. We are not that stupid, and this dunk on the Blackhawks, shit on the Blackhawks period of time, it's going to end very quickly.
Get it in now.
Get it in now.
Enjoy it while you can.
I'll remember.
I think
I'll see ya.
I'm gonna hope it's because it was a preseason crowd and it was probably a lot of people at their first Hawks game, which is great. I always love it when new people are there, but we need to get the chants down better when you're at a game.
It's a little.
The Detroit sucks chant didn't show up until the very end, which was shocking, because you could be there on a Tuesday night in February against the Ottawa Senators and hear at least 5 or 6 Detroit sucks chants in that game. We have to now. If you're at a Hawks game this year, and somebody starts, this is not gatekeeping. This is helping fans be better fans.
Teachable moment.
Helping fans become better fans. If somebody starts a "Let's go Blackhawks" chant, nip that in the bud. That's not how it goes. My inner former season ticket holding fandom was like trying to come out last night. That's not. It's "Let's go Hawks." Let's go Hawks.
Yes.
That's
come on,
the
everybody.
chant.
Let's go,
That's
Hawks.
the chant.
No
No
one's doing it. These U's are not interested.
Yeah, no. If it was a Taylor Swift song, we would have got to sing
Every
along.
single person in the office has got
That's the
headphones
chant.
on.
But last night, because we had a lot of, there were a lot of Red Wings fans there. Apparently, if you wanted to rob a house in
Crashed and
Downers
burned.
Grove last night, you would have gotten away with it. They're still alive and well in the western suburbs, those Detroit implants. There were a lot of "Let's go Red Wings" chants, and then you're supposed to answer that with "Detroit sucks." That's how it's been.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I'm it's preseason. Probably a lot of people have never been there before. I'm just teaching. Teaching.
There's going to be new fans because of Bedard.
Absolutely. So
Just as
maybe-
there were new fans because of Tays and Kane, every new generation of Blackhawks fan, it's an open door to learn the fan culture.
So maybe we need to come up with a fun video before that home opener to teach the new fans the proper things to do at your first Blackhawk game.
I think that's a
great
fantastic
idea.
And then we
idea.
could sell it to the Blackhawks, and they could throw it on the big screen right before puck drop, and they could show
There's
it.
a business idea.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll credit us
we
this time.
we should do some we should do a preseason video and put it up there right before the home opener of like, here's the chant,
Yeah.
here's the proper response to this. Please wait for the whistle. For
Yeah.
crying out loud, wait for the whistle.
Well, and Braggs wants to
Right, we can get
be
him
all in on
involved.
the Blackhawks.
Yeah. All right.
He'd be a perfect.
We have an assignment.
He's a perfect example of the new fan that wants to know about the Blackhawks, wants to hop on the ride. He will be the representative of the new fan.
Yes.
I think that's a great idea.
All right. We'll do it. It's a public service announcement. It's not
Just
not
like
snobbery,
just
it's
like the
not
alert that was on
gatekeeping.
your phone
Yes.
today.
We're going to alert you.
We will alert you at how to properly
Yes.
taunt Detroit fans and much more.
There are traditions, and we're just trying to keep those traditions. We're passing the traditions on to the new fans.
Yes, and I think the Detroit sucks tradition is an important one because years ago I wrote, when the Hawks were in their heyday and the Red Wings were way at the bottom, that maybe it's time to get rid of that chant. That was a bad take by me because the problem we're having now with the Wings in the Eastern Conference is, and last night was a really big representation, the rivalry is dying.
Heat
It's
has
dead.
been
It is
turned
on
down.
life
Let's
support.
call it what it is. It's dead.
The fact that it took to the third period to get a Detroit sucks chant going, that was disheartening. It's just part of the routine. It's part of the fun of the rivalry. And I feel like, 60% of the people there had no idea that Detroit was a different opponent than Florida,
Right.
And because they play so infrequently, it's maybe starts to feel that way a little bit. And frankly, I miss playing the Red Wings as often as the Hawks did because the rivalry was fun, and everyone hates the Blues. Everybody hates the Preds. It's not the same. It's not the same as the Detroit with the longevity and the 100 years of history and hatred. It's just not. Those two rivalries are not the same as it was against Detroit. And the way, for those that don't know, back in the day, in the 90s when Bill Wirtz was in charge, he knew he could make a lot of money off Detroit fans. And he would sell blocks of tickets to Detroit travel groups first to give them access to buy games at the stadium and then later to United Center, and they would bus them in so the arena would be full of Red Wings fans. And you'd be, in the 90s, both teams were pretty damn good, pretty damn competitive, and those games would be intense as hell, not only on the ice, but in the stands. And then when Detroit had their ascent and the Hawks started to decline, Hawks games with the Red Wings in town were 70% Detroit fans. So the 30% of us still there were fighting for our lives to keep this thing going and keep it fair and to let them know they weren't welcome here. And it's just since they've moved to the East in 2013, it has just not been the same. And it's every year that goes by, it loses more and more in steam, and it's a shame. And I know they play in an Eastern time zone, but the league needs to consider. The Hawks are now an Original Six team on an island in the Western Conference. They've got no Original Six rivals left. I've always sort of said, what about an Original Six conference or an Original Six weekend or something to get these rivalries rekindled? Because they're alive and well for the other 5 teams, while the Hawks just sit out here and they got to battle with the Ducks and Sharks.
Just stuff a bunch of teams in the East Coast, in the Eastern Conference, and then force Detroit to move back to the Western Conference.
you
Just
know-
throw in Atlanta and throw in Hamilton.
Bring on Atlanta,
And
bring
throw
on
in
Dallas.
throw in another Toronto team and throw in another team in New York. Just toss them all in and force Detroit to the West.
We were actually talking about this Saturday in the media room when we were talking about the Red Wings and kind of like, the Kaiser plan kind of isn't going as many people thought it would go.
Speaking of the Kaiser plan.
And it was brought up thinking, they got some nice players, but you don't look at what they got coming and what's starting here and go, oh my God, that's a future Stanley Cup champion. You go, that's probably a future playoff team. You guarantee you they wish they were still in the Central Division now because they're in the Eastern Conference. The Eastern Conference, they're maybe 8th, 9th, 11th. In the Western Conference, they're probably a playoff team.
They're in the Atlantic Division, if that is that correct?
Yeah, they're right by the Atlantic Ocean.
Yeah.
Right there.
They're in the Atlantic Division with
if Cal can be in the ACC.
They're in the Atlantic Division with Boston, Toronto, Tampa Bay, Florida, Buffalo, Montreal, and Ottawa.
Yeah.
All of those teams
are better than
and with Detroit, it's a tight, tough division. And I don't know if Detroit is the 4th best, 5th best team in that league, in that division.
But if they were in the Central this year,
they'd be up there.
I'd probably pick them to make the playoffs.
I would too. They're better.
So
they'd
be
better.
You got your hour starting time. You start your games an hour earlier, but you don't play no games in April.
Yeah.
This is why Detroit sucks. This is why the chant needs
Full
to
circle.
stay.
Comes all the way
Yes.
back around. Maybe we just need to get
it's not just a chant. It's an actual thing.
Yeah, it's a statement of fact. We need to just get Jeremy Piven to redo his old commercial.
There we go.
Boy, I remember one year, I think they did it once and probably this is in the 90s too. Before a Hawks Red Wings game, they did a montage on the scoreboard of, it was Hell's Bells by AC/DC, and just video footage of like Detroit crumbling and like rundown buildings. And like, it was a little bit, even in the 90s, I was kind of like,
ooh.
that was a little bit on the nose.
A little low.
But it was like, and it would show like Chicago theater and like all the great things in Chicago, and then like a half burned down building in Detroit. I'm like, oh God, that's tough.
Well, we got to remember back at that time, Detroit was in the national media what Chicago is now.
Right.
But even though Chicago is
right,
nowhere
yeah.
near what Detroit, Detroit actually, the city declared for bankruptcy. That's how bad it got there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I remember the Winter Classic at Wrigley Field. They would start the Detroit sucks chant, and then right as the puck would drop and it would finish, there'd be one guy in our section that would throw out like one last thing, like, and Bob Seger sucks too, like, and Alan Trammell sucks too. Like, he would just throw out one more Detroit thing, and like, it was great. We were like, see, that's why these things need to stay. They make memories.
Yeah.
I mean, that 08-09 season, the Western Conference Final that year, you had the second round series in 2013. Like, those are like some of the last hottest competitive, fiery instances of the rivalry. And I mean, it's such great moments, and you haven't had anything close since, and you can't replicate it unless both teams reach the Stanley Cup final, which, okay, maybe that'll happen, but I mean, I'd rather them play each other at least 8 times a year and maybe see each other in a 7-game series in the playoffs more frequently than just hope that they both reach the final.
Get rid of the conferences and top 16 teams.
Sure, go college football. Just get rid of conferences.
Can I do? All right. So you did your bitch.
I've bitched.
You did your bitch. We kind of did it together.
I'll bitch on anything.
I've got one too, and I think I'm speaking for everyone, most people in the chat. There are some people with Bedard fatigue. Whatever.
Let's get used to it.
It's going to be a long 15 years
sure.
for you guys.
We're already seeing fan bases on social media complain about, they're showing Connor Bedard highlights. He didn't even score. It's an empty netter. Like, listen, he's a huge story. There's a reason the first game of the year is Connor Bedard versus Sidney Crosby. There's a reason the second game of the year is Connor Bedard versus Boston.
And the first hockey night in Canada is Connor Bedard in Montreal.
Yes.
Get used to it.
Going to be a huge story. Last night, I tweeted the story about how ESPN on October 21st, I think it's the 21st. 24th, thank you, is going to do their own version of Red Zone. It's going to be called Frozen Frenzy. And John Buccigross is going to be kind of driving the whole thing.
With Kevin Weeks, that's a
Boy.
good.
Well, we're going to need to make a bet on the over and under of chicken parms. That gets
I love
set
John
on there.
Buccigross.
I bet the
that
over.
guy was him and Linda Cohn were the two people at ESPN carrying a torch for hockey
I
while it was
love
going.
Oh, yeah,
and appreciate
absolutely.
everything Buccigross has done for the game. He should be fun for this. Just keep him out of the broadcast booth. He's not a play-by-play guy.
That's a different topic for a different show. I think you're right, but I think it's not his fault. It's a staffing issue.
True.
Which we hear about
Sure,
Portillo's all the time. Anyway, the reason I bring it up is because this news broke in a transcript from ESPN. ESPN had their call yesterday with the NHL, just talking about broadcast plans. It was like a media sort of a thing. So the people on the call were Linda Schultz, who's a coordinating producer, John Buccigross, Ray Ferraro, and Emily Kaplan. I have the transcript in front of me. I just hit Control F Bedard. Bedard is mentioned 20 times in this call.
Sure.
Get used to the attention.
Yep.
And here's what I will say to our Hawks fans who are maybe a little bit. There's one guy on Twitter who says he doesn't seem explosive enough to be a center yet. It's okay to enjoy things.
Stop finding reasons to not like the fun thing.
Yes. Stop finding reasons to be miserable.
Yeah.
Stop. He is he's not this level. He didn't pick his name out of a hat and say, let's make this kid the next big thing in hockey. They've known this for 4 years that this kid was going to be this player. He's here. Folks, enjoy it. Enjoy the journey. Enjoy the growth. We've talked about it for years. Like, Patrick Kane was a better player after the Cups were won than he was when they won Cups. Players grow, they evolve, they get better. Connor McDavid is getting better and better and better. Was he still a great rookie? Yes. Is he a way better player now than he was then? Yes. The same thing's going to happen with Bedard. Stop looking for reasons to be unhappy. This gift fell in our laps. Let's not dissect every second, every breath the kid takes, every move he makes. We'll be watching you. Like, just don't do it. You know what I mean? Like, it is okay, Hawks fans, and just people in general, to just enjoy something.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be, but all the time.
I was going to mention, and Chris Dubio said it in the chat, it's the same people that bitch and moan that the NHL doesn't do enough to market their stars are the same people complaining, you're showing too much Connor Bedard. They're doing exactly what they've got a new star. They're marketing him. They've got a fresh young player.
You've got the next
throw him out
biggest
there.
star.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
Look at how the NFL is bending over backwards to put Taylor Swift on TV every day, and she don't even play in the league.
And guess what?
It's working.
It annoys a lot of the people that are going to watch the NFL anyway.
But the two games they throw around have been the two highest games outside of the Super Bowl people have watched.
Yeah.
It's working.
Yes,
it's obviously
it is working. It is working.
People want to watch Connor Bedard because they've been hearing about this kid for 4 years. Now they're like, let's see if he lives up to the hype. So of course you're going to put it out there.
Yes.
It's what marketing departments do. It's what the marketing department is paid to do.
Yes.
You can't scream, I don't want to, you need to do a better job marketing the sport. And then the second later, because the player that they're marketing is not on your favorite team, you can't go, stop showing me so much of that guy.
Yeah.
Right.
Show me some more Vancouver Canuck highlights. Well, there aren't any. As soon as they are, we'll show them. Until then, sit down and shut up.
I got into it. So somebody was bitching about the Bedard stick handle where he, in the last game, not last
Which
night, but
one?
the night before, where he stick handled, I can't forget the defenseman, and then got a shot on goal but didn't score.
Against Detroit.
And everyone's like,
Edmondson.
why would the NHL tweet this? He didn't score, yada, yada, yada. And I get into it again. I'm like, it's a great move. He's a high prospect. He's like, well, they're not sharing highlights by anybody else. So I actually went to NHL's Twitter, and I'm like, there's Bedard. Right below there is a Red Wings highlight. It's like, yeah, but they retweeted the Red Wings one, and they made the Bedard one their own. I'm like,
Oh.
come on.
Just
Go stick your head in another.
Just
What's wrong with you?
Get used to it. Get over it. Get good or get wrecked.
And of
like
all fan bases,
Go sit on your own nutsack.
Detroit?
Jesus Christ.
Detroit fans are going to bitch about too much coverage right here, pal. We had to deal with that shit for 25 years of Yzerman and Lidstrom and Fedorov and Datsuk and Zetterberg.
Now
and-
Bedard is
Oh, my
embarrassing
God.
Simon Edvinsson, the next great defenseman drafted by Steve Yzerman.
Get out of here.
Yeah. No, it's Get used to it. The NHL is going to hitch their money wagon to Connor Bedard.
That's what they should.
And it's the smart play. Guys like Connor McDavid and Austin Matthews and Cale Makar, you're gonna see those guys have been pushed out and up and to the front of the NHL. McDavid, Matthews, Makar, they've all been on the cover of EA Sports. I guarantee you, Connor Bedard either next year or the year after is on the EA Sports cover. And I'll tell you this too, I will guarantee that one of the next 2 Winter Classics are in Chicago. I'll guarantee that right now.
Yep. And
no matter how good or bad the Blackhawks are at the time, they will be in Chicago.
And there's going to be some trips to Europe, too, coming soon.
Sure. Let's go to Germany. And Lucas Reichel can tell us about Oktoberfest. I'll finally know what it means.
Open the season. It's to celebrate the harvest. That's why it's in September.
Harvest what?
The harvest of your farms.
October?
Oktoberfest is actually in September. It has nothing to do with the month of September.
Do you harvest brains? Is
Yeah,
that why?
you
Is that part of
harvest your
Halloween?
grains
Is that why it's in October?
It's in September.
Is it spooky season?
Don't we have some reads to do?
I think we do. You can watch all sort of documentaries on the origins of Oktoberfest at FuboTV.com. Go to FuboTV.com/CHGO. You'll get 140 live channels of sports, shows, movies, news, and documentaries about Oktoberfest.
Is it Friday? It feels like Friday.
Stream live TV from any device. Watch the most Chicago
Wednesday.
sports and Oktoberfest documentaries for the lowest price. And start watching those Oktoberfest documentaries immediately with a free trial at FuboTV.com/CHGO. There is no contract, there is no cable, there is no hassle. Just sign up and start watching. You get 1,000 hours of cloud DVR included at no extra charge. You can watch your local teams while traveling. You got college football, the Big Ten, NFL Network, Red Zone is on there. You've got all sorts of great sports coming around. I hear Colorado might be playing football again.
I think so.
Be seeing them.
Yeah.
Watch all your favorite college football and the NFL and the NHL with Fubo. Go to FuboTV.com/CHGO to sign up for 15% off your first month of Fubo Pro.
And while you're watching all them sports and your football on your Fubo, what better way to make it more exciting is to risk money on it and try and win more money.
Absolutely.
And CHGO has weekly Pick X and NFL Survivor contests for everybody to participate for real money. How do you enter? Is that what you're asking? Well, I have the answer for you. Head over to splashsports.com/CHGO and sign up. Deposit cash to get started, and it's just $10 to enter either one of the contests. CHGO NFL Pick X contest or the CHGO Survivor contest. The more who enter, the more money there is to win. That makes perfect sense to me. We'll be running weekly contests all year, so be sure to keep that league handy. You want to run your own contest? Tired of being the commish on leagues, chasing people down with none of the reward? You can sign up to be a commissioner right through our link and earn money for the contest you're already running with friends and family. Head to splashsports.com/CHGO to join in. We'll have different contests coming out, so we're stoked to compete with and, most importantly, against all of you. Be sure to click on that link in the podcast description.
Hey, we got breaking Blackhawks news.
Uh-oh.
My phone didn't give me
Oh,
an
it's
alert.
huge. You want to take it, Mario?
Oh, God, this is earth-shattering. We have a roster cut.
Uh-oh.
Jackson Stauber has been assigned to the ice.
No! We didn't get to ask him about his Hemlet.
His Hemlet.
His Hemlet.
Hemlet. Yeah.
Speaking of
Has it
Hemlets.
got the stripes and the colors of the team and all that stuff?
Wrong guy.
Wrong guy.
It probably
By the way,
does.
before we... sorry, Jackson Stauber. Enjoy your time in Rockford. You'll be back.
You're going to start a lot of games there.
Yeah. The Kaylee Chelios, Chris Vossers thing about Detroit sucks. They knew.
Yeah, probably.
There's no way Kaylee Chelios has never heard Detroit sucks.
I'll say this.
She probably had it being chanted outside her bedroom window as a child
That's
while
true.
his dad was playing in Detroit.
Oh, that's true. I'll say this, though, about being on a broadcast. I did one Ice Hogs game one time back when Joey Z was broadcasting. He let me, unqualified as I am, to do the color commentary on a game. The headphones that you wear during the broadcast cancel out every other outer noise, and you're really only hearing what your microphone picks up and you're hearing what the other person is saying. So if they hear a chant in the crowd, it may not be clear what you're hearing. You might hear crowd noise, but you might not exactly hear it. So sure, could they have misheard it? Probably. Did they recover their own fumble, like I said? Or were they saying it in jest? Also,
Yeah, I think they're a little
probably
tongue-in-cheek
true.
about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they were not part of the session.
No. All right, let's get to these super chats before we wrap the show up. We got a bunch today. So we got one from Windy City Hockey, $2. Thank you. Says the NHL killed a great rivalry. Yes, they did with the Hawks and Red
NHL
Wings.
likes to kill a lot of things.
Young Dangle God says,
very
we need a
bodies
passer
buried.
to hit Bedard on the cross-crease pass for the power play. If only there were an elite future Hall of Fame passer who has thrived with right-handed teammates in his decorated career.
Phil
available.
Kessel.
There's his 99 cents, too, for suggesting Patrick Kane, which is what
Somebody
he was doing
owes
there.
us anyway. For
Yeah, there was
seriously
another person in
suggesting
there.
that. Somebody.
Yeah, Jay,
us a
early in the
dollar.
chat.
Jayhawk or something like that.
Music. Yeah, you owe us $1 for your.
Yeah, I think they're new. Jaybird Music.
Yes, we're gonna let you. We're gonna let you slide because we haven't seen you comment before.
But he does say Taylor Swift leaves Kelsey for Bedard. How about that?
She's not.
How about that?
I'm
Hey,
gonna
Greg, go to the game and try and get an interview with Taylor Swift. That'll be your next assignment.
Hey, I'd get a shit ton more followers on Twitter. I know that.
I don't think that.
You are big on TikTok.
Well, I got almost worded it. I almost said Connor Bedard's uninterested in women. Not what I mean. I think he is so hockey focused right now that
he doesn't have time
he
for
might
that.
not know who Taylor Swift is. If anyone in the world doesn't know who Taylor Swift is, it's Connor Bedard.
That's a good.
That's a good point.
That's a good point.
We're gonna have to ask him that. Kind of just curious.
It'll
Are
be
you-
the
do you know who
first.
Taylor
That should be the
Swift is?
first question in his scrum tomorrow.
Are you a Swiftie?
Quick question: can you name 3 Taylor Swift songs? Oh, that'd be great.
He always starts his questions like that.
I mean, yeah, we all have our crutch words,
Our crutches?
and
Yeah.
stuff.
We
Yeah,
do. That's for sure.
obviously for sure.
What else we got super chat wise? Brandon, thank you, Brandon, for your $2. Says, what is Zaitsev's future, Rockford or Chicago?
He's not going to Rockford.
Yeah.
He could, but he's not going to. And he's going to be in Chicago until
the end of
they-
his contract.
Is it just this last year?
Just
okay. Yeah. We just got
He's
to
not
ride it
hurting
out.
anything. He's not derailing any kind of playoff hopes. Like, he's not necessarily stealing time from somebody. I mean, maybe, but you're going to need to rotate guys in and out.
Yeah.
Zaitsev's going to sit for plenty of games.
Mm-hmm.
He's not going to play all 82 games. I bet you he plays 50 to 55 with tenuity.
Yeah.
They'll play the matchups. It's Wyatt Kaiser. Luke Richardson said last night, Wyatt Kaiser's probably going to play both sides. So we were talking about how well he did on the right. He's probably going to switch a lot. So
Yeah.
I know Zaitsev's probably going to be the cannon fodder for the season. The analytics are not very kind to him. No. The other day at practice, I was like, he's not the worst player in the NHL. And then we looked up numbers, and I was like, okay, he might be the worst player in the NHL.
He's the worst analytical player in the NHL.
Yes. So, if that's like what we have to hitch our wagons to complain about this year, then all things are going pretty well.
No, that's true.
If
Yeah.
if Nikita Zaitsev is the worst thing on this team right now, boy, what a difference a year makes.
Remember, people get hurt. You're going to want to keep him running. And I think, Lucas sort of hinted at the fact, too, like, hey, we plan on playing a lot of young guys, but especially with defensemen, if you get 2 or 3 bad games in a row, you might want to pull them back, have them take a look from the press box, take a deep breath, and it's nice to have Tenorti on the left and Kaiser on the or Zaitsev on the right to ease that pain. This team has shown, and if you listen to Luke, like, they're going young on D.
Yeah.
It's happening. So I don't think he's got any sort of like, this guy's a veteran, he should play.
No.
There's none of that. I think they're going to, like you said, kind of play the matchups. And before we go, why don't we fire up the Luke Richardson talking about Kaiser today? I did ask him about how he thought Kaiser's done on the right side, and he gets into it, and we'll play that for you, and we'll wrap up the show. It's good stuff. How do you think Kaiser's handled the right side over the last 2 games?
Pretty good. I think there's times where he uses that skating ability so well and he closes quick. I think just getting that next step. Now what's he going to do with it? Instead of holding on to it for a second and letting people close on him, just moving that puck just a little quicker. But that's everybody, all of our defense, especially the younger guys. But you know what, I think he's a bright guy. He sees the ice well, so I think, you know, playing either side, it doesn't really matter, and I don't think it should matter to me. And even a guy like Korchinski should be able to do that, because when you play on the power play, you're going to be over in that corner on the offensive zone anyway. So you got to be able to, you know, have your body getting used to some reps of pulling pucks off the wall in your backhand and making it to your advantage, not a disadvantage.
You know what my favorite thing is, aside from great Connor Bedard highlights? When Luke Richardson says something that I said the night before.
Yeah, there is a sense of satisfaction when a hockey person says the same thing that you say or think. You're like, oh, okay.
I might know
I
what
get
I'm
it.
talking
I'm
about.
not a complete moron.
I do get it.
I feel the same way when we're in like the press scrums, and I'm like, there's 3 questions I want to ask, and then those are the first 3 questions asked by like the longtime reporter. I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
I'm validated.
Yeah,
I belong here. Okay.
I would have had the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's a good.
Yeah,
feeling.
but there was a moment last night, and he referenced it there, where Kaiser was trying to start a rush out of the defensive zone and took a little too long to do it. You know, skated an extra stride or two, and it cost them. They took the puck away. But at the same time, that first Hawks goal, he's on his offside right defense, right along the boards at the blue line, wins the puck, keeps the play alive, and a Hawks score. So you're seeing, just like Connor Bedard, Wyatt Kaiser is learning on a job. Like Derek King says, coached a junior out of him. These lessons are learned on the ice. When you have a season with no grand expectations, you can let them learn on the job and then have the immediate coaching from your NHL crew after the mistakes are made. I think it's a little bit different from how, as we've talked about in years past with Boquist and with Jokiharju, who came in too soon on teams that were trying to win. And it was not the time to learn. It's like David Ross said this year about the Cubs. We're not developing players this year. We're trying to make the playoffs.
Right.
There's some truth to that. The Hawks are developing players this year.
Yep.
And I want the NHL coaches to be hands-on.
This is the perfect season to do it.
Yep.
Yep.
All right. Well, we got a couple more reads to give you. So let's do that, and then
Yeah.
we'll tell you about tomorrow and the rest of the week.
Speaking of perfect, if you're looking for the perfect decorations for your home office, basement, man cave, she shed, bathroom, whatever it is, you should check out our friends at FOCO. That's FOCO, and get yourself fitted out with some of the best sports gear around. They've got hoodies, shoes, signs, bobbleheads, everything in between. You want a pair of swim shorts or banana hammock for your winter travels with the Blackhawks logo on it or the Bears logo on it? Maybe some toilet paper with the Bears logo on it. FOCO might have it. They have everything you need to look your best for football season or basketball season or hockey season. Baseball season is listed here in the ad read, but that's officially over. You can look at all of our set decorations. A lot of them came from our friends at FOCO, so if you like them here, check them out at foco.com. That's FOCO.com, or you can click the link in the description below. For all non-presale items, you can use the promo code CHGO, and when you do, you're going to get 10% off of your purchase. Again, that's the promo code CHGO when you go to foco.com.
I know we've had a lot of talk about Oktoberfest and what the hell is it and fall, and it certainly has not felt like fall at all.
Well, let's go with that. Come on.
But it's coming. But that doesn't mean the sun's not going away. Whether it's warm or cold outside, the sun can still do some damage, and Shady Rays is here to help protect you and your precious eyeballs from that giant evil ball of gas in the sky. They have premium polarized shades at a very affordable price. Shady Rays is an independent sunglasses company that offers a world-class product that's just as good as any expensive pair we've ever worn. Durable frames and extremely clear optics are perfect for all your outdoor adventures. And that's not all. Shady Rays offers the most insane protection in all of eyewear. Every pair of sunglasses is lost and broken replacements. Basically, if you lose or break your pair, even on day one, they're going to send you a brand new pair, no questions asked. You can wear your Shady Rays with confidence because they have your back long after you make your purchase. And together with their customers, Shady Rays is providing much-needed support for nonprofit partners across the U.S. With the Shady Rays impact, from building play sets for pediatric cancer patients to providing young adults with MS the outdoor adventure of a lifetime, Shady Rays is making an impact in your community and others like it now and for years to come. And if you don't love your Shady Rays, you can always exchange them for a brand new pair or return them for free within 30 days. There is no risk when you shop. Finally, exclusively for our listeners, Shady Rays is giving out their best deal of the season. Go to shadyrays.com, use the promo code CHGO for 50% off 2 or more pairs of those amazing polarized shades rated 5 stars by over 250,000 people.
What? I'm laughing at the Blackhawks beat text group.
Oh,
It's
I
funny.
gotta look at that now.
Anyways, yeah, get yourself some Shady Rays. Today was a fun show. I like these shows.
Yeah.
I like these shows when we have fun.
When we get to
There's a lot
disagree
more
and yell at things.
There's a lot more fun to be had this season.
There's a lot more fun shows coming this season,
Yeah.
including tomorrow, post-game. After
Home game.
the last home preseason game of the year against the Minnesota Wild. Connor Bedard is playing tomorrow night. I would not expect him to play Saturday. We'll have
Philip Kurashev was skating today,
Skating,
not with
yep.
the team, but skating, so that was a good sign.
Ryan Donato
was
and,
back.
and Andreas Athanasiou back.
That's good.
And then tomorrow, post-game, Friday, we'll have some fun stuff for Friday, maybe an around the league day as we get close to opening day.
Yep.
Maybe a fun game to play. Saturday, we're going to try something new. It's the last preseason game. We're going to do a pre-game show.
Preseason pregame.
Preseason pregame, 6:30. Leads you right up to puck drop for Hawks and Blues at 7. We may be doing more of those for the road games this year. If there's a demand for pregame shows, we are 3 men of the people, and we will provide that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we'd love to do that.
Yeah, that's the rest of the
post
week.
game Saturday.
And of course, post game Saturday. Post game every game, no matter if you want it or not.
And then Monday we leave for Pittsburgh for the opening game of the season. So
We are almost there.
Let's drop the
I just
puck.
love how we get so excited that training camp started, and like 3 days after training camp starts, it's like, when does the regular season start?
Oh, I know.
It's almost here.
It's almost here.
Already feeling it.
Yep. Can't wait for that first game in Pittsburgh and just to get into it. 82 games. Let's do it.
Let's go. All right, thanks to Steven for running the show. Thank you, Mario. We'll get our lesson video out soon. Trust us. Get that in time for the home opener. But make sure you like us on the way out. Tell a friend. We'll be back tomorrow, post-game, on the CHGO Blackhawks podcast.